We start today's dev diary pretty strong with Johan confirming that this is EU5 from this statement. Today we talk about what will replace technology levels and national ideas of EU4. If it was any other game, we wouldn't be talking about the replacement of technology levels and national ideas of EU4, would we? I think it's time we actually call it EU5, make an actual official announcement, because at this point, everybody knows it's EU5, and this is like the 6th or 8th freaking time in which Johan or another member of the development team actually mentions that it's a feature replacing another EU4 feature or references EU4. It's very obvious. Let's just either that or we actually call the game Project Caesar. Hear me out. Hear me out. No more EU5. Just keep it as Project Caesar for the memes mostly, but I think it might work. Seriously, wouldn't do so well with marketing, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a funny meme though. It mentions that while some aspects of the idea systems are covered by societal values and or laws of the country, this new system will cover the rest, and that is the technology system, or advances as they are called now. They're not technologies anymore. It's the advancement tree. So we have here the screen itself. We actually see a few of the other tabs. We got the government tab, the economic tab, relations tab, trade tab, military tab. No freaking clue what this shit is. And the last one is the advancement tab. So apparently advances are tied to each age, with the age of Renaissance having 91 advances. Then we get more with the other ages, basically. We also see the amount of reforms available here, the monthly gain of advances, which is 1.35 for whoever Johan is tagged into here. You see research and ages separated, since we have the actual researches on this side and then the ages with their separate tiers, basically. It's kind of like a tier system, I guess, ages, you could probably call it. That would be the most accurate depiction. Like in Victory 3, you have tiers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here you have ages, basically. There's a lot of technologies, as you can tell here. 0 out of 91 advances just for the age of Renaissance is pretty huge, actually. And there's a lot to dig into here, so pay close attention. This is a short one, and I'm going to be a little bit more straightforward with stuff here. Got scholarly treatises, which gives revoke privilege cost and restitution cost. Then you also get subject opinion plus 10 flat. That kind of tells me that you will likely have a cap with the subject opinions around 150 or maybe even 300 or 200. Who's to say, right? It's going to be pretty big, I would assume, considering this technology gives plus 10 flat. Max nobles literacy, institution growth, and then the ability to unlock peasant levy armies. Very interesting there. So you don't start with that from day one, apparently. Or at least you don't start from day one with this particular tech for whoever he's tagged into, right? Once more, Johan mentions that the technology levels from EU4 and ideas are now what we call advances. Why would you again reference stuff from EU4 and not from CK3, not from Imperator, not from another game? Because it's EU5, man. Come on. I'm freaking gonna put the title that Johan confirms it's EU5. Seriously. It's the last straw. 8 references in the past month. Come on. Advances can unlock new diplomacy, new units, new abilities for units, new character actions, subject interactions, estate privileges, laws, policies and laws, inheritance systems, casus belli, new government reforms, girlfriends for U4 players, new buildings, friends, additional levels of buildings, addictions, and new production methods. Might have made up some of those. I'm not sure if you noticed. I guess all you have to do is guess which ones I made up. It's the production methods, guys. It's the production. An advance can also unlock mechanics like investing in stability, building roads, collecting tax, and much more. Last but not least, advances can give you important stats like more literacy for your nobles or better military tactics. So essentially, this is the same way that you got it in Imperator Rome. Pretty much everything that he mentions you get from advances is stuff that you get from, what was it called in Imperator? Do you guys remember what they called the technology? Was it innovations? I think it was innovation. Wasn't it advances also? Actually, I'm not sure. Probably wasn't advances. Would have been too similar if it was advances. But yeah, same style of technology. Only difference from Imperator Rome is that it's divided by ages now, I guess. At the start of each age, each country will get a new advanced tree, which will be unique to that country. Whoa. A unique advanced tree to each country. Ayo? Unique as in the same advanced tree with different researched already technologies, or unique as in completely different technology? Probably the first one. Otherwise, it would be way too much to script. A tree usually contains about 100 advances, some which are common and some that are specific to you who you are playing. Oh, okay, so we might actually have some technologies unique to like the Byzantines or unique to the Turks and so on. That's really nice. I like that. Every tree except for the Age of Traditions has 4 different starting points, a common one and one for each institution. The one from an institution tends to unlock relevant advances to that institution. Now we have here a part of a tree. So we got classic sclerosis, which gives institution growth. This is so tiny. Holy shit, man. I can barely make out anything. Let me actually zoom in. There we go. I can still barely make out anything. So guilds, footmen, unlock gallow glaze. Metallurgy unlocks barracks. Weaponsmith unlocks weaponsmithing. Trade efficiency plus 1%. Shipbuilding. Levy recruitment speed unlocks Hulk. Whoa! I didn't know we have Avengers in EU5. Holy shit. This changes everything.
Hey, Ludi, it's a type of ship, bro.
Damn! I never would have guessed. Thank you for telling me, bro. Alright, the point is that this is not final, by the way. This is a work in progress, obviously. So keep that in mind. Don't be too judgmental with this. It's going to be completely different for sure by the time that the game is going to come out. And I actually kind of like this design, to be honest with you. Maybe make it round or something, but I genuinely do like the design. Maybe make the icon a little bit bigger. That would be cool. They do mention eventually all advances will have fitting and often unique icons, but for now, the sickle is good. About 70% of all advances in a tree tend to be common for every country, but the rest depends entirely on which country you're playing. 1/3 of the advances in a tree in Age of Renaissance and Age of Discovery does not require any institution to research. So that means 70% common research tree, 30% unique to each country. Now don't expect, because probably there's going to be like 500-600 countries, right? Don't expect that all 600 countries are going to have 30% of the research tree unique to them, okay? It's probably going to be like based on cultures or something of the sort. So like Byzantine culture nations are going to have a different culture specific tech tree. Turkish ones are going to have a different tree. Italian ones are going to have a different 30%, right? So probably that's the line we're going to be expecting here. Now this here is part of the tree unlocked by the meritocracy institution. And if we zoom in here, we see we got efficiency of our cabinet plus 5%. Then we get power projection plus 10 for imperial ambitions, cultural traditions, monthly literacy, tax efficiency again, estate enrichment. Why is tax efficiency plus 1 here and tax efficiency? Oh, it's my bad. It's tax and it's trade. I'm a Pepega. That's why. I don't know how to read apparently. Gotta work on that. We also took the national ideas and adapted to advances. Some of them made no sense and were lost, but in general, the starting bonuses ended up as 2 Age of Traditions advances you start with already researched, and the rest is spread over the rest of the ages, with what was the finished bonus as an advance in Age of Revolution. I spaced out for that whole sentence. Let me read that again and come back to you guys. Yeah, I read this another time. I'm gonna ignore it because I have no clue what's going on. So currently, many unique and powerful Swedish advances are in the Age of Absolutism. We have also heavily relied those whose names survive, and when we work in making unique content for a country, we aim to add more advances. Wait a second. So there's actually like not only culture specific, but also like actual tag specific. 16 unique advances for the Poles, including Grosz Krakowski, which is tax efficiency plus 10%. Wow. That is an interesting way of making countries like go down a more specific or more historical path, right? Like you can use the unique specific for that, only that tag, not just the entire culture group, to say make that country colonize faster, have stronger units of a particular type, spread certain types of food around Germany 500 years later, you know, stuff like that basically. We also have a lot of unique advances for what culture you're playing or what religion you're playing, if you are a country that can own locations or not, and for what type of government you have. Holy shit, man. So there's a lot of unique advances not only for culture group, but also for the religion specific tag ones. Owning specific locations is going to give you unique advances. So for example, if you own maybe Constantinople, you get access to a unique advance simply from owning that location or from having a type of government. That is really awesome, man. I like this. This is probably the most innovative new system that I've seen so far for EU5, and I really genuinely love this. The advances system seems to have a lot of potential. It does need to be properly implemented, and I'm 100% faithful that it will be properly implemented because Johan knows what he's doing. The dev team behind the game obviously know what they're doing. This is a passion project both for the dev team and for Johan. Some of the ideas from the idea groups ended up directly as advances unique for certain types of countries. Like the horde government ones were converted to unique advances for steppe hordes. Divine ideas as unique advances for theocracies. Again, and I genuinely am not fucking kidding. I will name this title Johan Confirms It's EU5. Because why would you specifically specifically mention this shit if it was any other game. Just call it EU5 already, please. However, most of the ideas ended up being sorted into an admin, diplo, military focus with at least 10 in each category for every age, starting with the age of Renaissance. Okay, why 3 categories? Because mana point. Not gonna bother the rest, it's because mana point. Admin, better admin efficiency, lower interest, better proximity, propagation, cheaper mercenaries, and more, just like admin mana in EU4. Diplomatic, better merchants, diplo reputation, subjects, cheaper war score costs, and more, like diplo mana in EU4. Military, more prestige from battles, monthly tradition gain, and more, like military mana in EU4. Moving on, because that's pretty obvious. We have here the screen for the Age of Renaissance. Says this is the dawning of the Age of Renaissance. A new era of knowledge, art, and progress is emerging due to growing interactions and institutions in the medieval societies affected by Pax Mongolica, the Islamic Golden Age, and the European Renaissance. Then we have here admin focus, diplo focus, and military focus, and you have to choose between one of these. Each is going to have their own bonuses, so obviously depending on what your plans are going to be for that particular age, say you want to focus on your country, build it up, make it a strong economy, you're going to go admin, or maybe you have to deal with your vassals, go for diplo. You want to be a warrior and you want to take on the world, go for glorious army and military focus. We have here the actual advances. So we got glorious army, battlefield commissions, finest of horses, levy training, levy standards, enforced service, naval glory, boarding parties, marine regiments, anti-piracy league. And we got tolerance ideas, innovative ideas, empiricism, court accounting, debt and loans. Genuinely, for most nations, especially the bigger ones that don't need to expand, admin is going to be the way for sure. Like as the Castilians, 100% admin, because that way you can consolidate a strong nation. When the age of discovery arrives, you can just start expanding into the new world with a diplomatic focus for the age of discovery, right? You don't even need armies because you're not going to have that many wars, just some internal fighting and stuff, so you'll be fine. At the start of an age, the tree is populated with the advances depending on what your country is at that time as well, so you will only get relevant advances to choose from in that age. If you switch tags or change religion or form, that will be seen in the next stage. So that means it's not as flexible as I imagine. It's not instant. You do have to wait until the end of the age, so you only have like 4 different paths you would be able to write, or how many ages there are. The advanced tree for Age of Traditions is a bit unique in that it has many starting points, and there are many countries, particularly in the New World, who do not start with all of them. Metallurgy, agriculture, written alphabet, shipbuilding, meritocracy are different starting points who all have trees. Feudalism, which requires to have embraced institution to research, is in the agriculture tree and requires horse riding research first. Legalism is part of the written alphabet tree and constitutes codified laws and the institution to have spread to unlock their subtree. Many of these are more expensive to research. This, together with lots of unique advances in the first 3 ages, provides an interesting progress as a new world or similar type of country outside the Eurasian core. So I'm glad to see that we're gonna at least get some, you know, different perspective. If you play as the natives or you play in other parts of the world that's not as, you know, primary focus, you're gonna have some fun and unique flavor to play around with. Each advance has a research cost that is the same for almost all advances. Okay, so then what's going to be the different factor? Just the literacy, which gives the amount of research speed, I assume. There's a few keystone advances such as written alphabet that are far more costly though. Okay, makes sense, since I'm assuming written alphabet is going to give some bonuses to increasing technology research. Every country generates research each month, which is paid directly into the advance you are currently researching. While a bit unrealistic but good from a quality of life perspective, you can store up to a year's research without having an advance being researched. Whoa, so then you can just in multiplayer pretend you don't have that particular technology, and then when the war starts, click, I got it, bitch, I'm gonna snapple dupe you now. Skippity-boo. That's exactly what's gonna happen. I can't wait to see how multiplayer is gonna be super toxic in EU5. There's also a sort of catch-up mechanic where advances from an earlier age are cheaper than the current age. That's nice to see as well. The amount of research you do depends on what country you're playing as. If you're a settled country, nomadic group of pops, and on the power of your liturgical language. The satisfaction of the clergy estate and the average literacy of your country also impact how quickly you can research shit. And we see here settled country, not a nomad country. Power of liturgical language is 0.18. Liturgical language, basically the language of the church. So that's an interesting new mechanic. Didn't even expect that to be a thing, but gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. Then that's percentage modified by the literacy of your country, which we all know is going to be very low for majority of the campaign. And clergy estate satisfaction. I assume the clergy estate satisfaction is going to have like a hard cap of 5% or something like that. Just like in EU4, there's like a clergy bonus equilibrium and shit, like 5-10% maximum usually. As you build up the literacy of your population, your research will grow. You can also fully automate research and let the AI keep researching for you. But then where's the fun in that though? Come on. And of course, we get a proper research queue, so you can just select which text you want to get, and it will add all prerequisites to the queue as well. And you can keep adding any valid advances to the queue. That's nice. I like that. See, that's something that should be at the start of any game. I'm glad to see that EU5 is going to have this from day one. The queue, which other games, not going to mention who, decided to not have it at launch and added later. Victoria 3, you know what I mean. Stay tuned. Next week, we talk about the joys of exploration. Before we start reading the comments, I also want to mention why I look like a James Bond villain. That is because as of today, I work for the US government. I'm kidding. I just, a cow passed by and licked my head. That's why. Will you eventually have most texts unlocked as the ages progress? The goal is to have 75 to 80% unlocked if you're playing as a country in a good starting position that does not neglect their research. That means it's going to be close to impossible to actually, or actually impossible to actually research everything by the end of the campaign. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of technologies also, advances. You say that each country will have unique advances. How many are we talking about? Don't have an average, but we think about 8 or so unique for each country. Not all countries will have them, obviously, because there's, again, about 600 countries. So it's going to be the big boys probably. Byzantium, you know, the Ottomans, Poland, Brandenburg, Prussia, Germany. Brandenburg is, again, just give Brandenburg a lot. Can I get 20% discipline for the price? Just for no reason. Just add it as a technology. We don't need to do it if we don't want to. Just have it there. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. People that are fans of paradox style grand strategy games tend to like to have unique content per tag. Yes. The fact that you actually decided to give advances per tag, not just culture group, made me love. Like, I'm gonna go out ahead and say it. I fucking love that shit. This makes me really, really hopeful for EU5. Like, actually super hopeful for EU5. Also, I just realized there's gonna be a lot more than 400 or 500 technologies, because we get Age of Tradition, Renaissance. How many ages were there? Hold on a second. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means there's gonna be 600 technologies. That's actually wild. That is genuinely wild. Holy snaps. Boys, I hope you enjoyed this. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.